Okay, right now we're going to prove the vertical angle theorem. The vertical angle theorem states that vertical angles are congruent. So we are given that angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair, and angle 2 and angle 3 are a linear pair. Okay, and what we're trying to prove is that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So we're trying to prove that this angle here is congruent to this angle here. So that's what we're proving here. Okay, so one thing that we need to remember is the linear pair postulate, and that states that if two angles form a linear pair, then the angles are supplementary. Okay, so that's going to be important information down here in our justifications. So we're going to start, as always, by writing down what our givens are. And so I'm going to start by saying number 1 is that angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. And that's given. And then we've got that angle 2 and angle 3 also form a linear pair. And that's given. Okay, and by definition of linear pair, we know from the linear pair postulate that if two angles form a linear pair, then their angles are supplementary. Okay, so by definition of linear pair postulate, we can say that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles, and that's by definition, actually we're just going to put by linear pair postulate. Okay, and then in 4 we can say that angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. Angles, and that again is by the linear pair postulate. Okay, the next piece of information that we're going to use is the definition of supplementary. And I'm really hoping that you guys start seeing a pattern here. Okay, so by definition of supplementary, we can say that angle 1, the measure of angle 1, plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. And that's by definition of supplementary angles. Okay, and then step 6, hopefully you'll see, is that the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equal 180 degrees. And again, that's by the definition of supplementary. Angles. Okay. Now, step 7. My guess is you can see that they both equal 180 degrees. And so because they both equal 180 degrees in steps 5 and 6, we can set these equal to each other. So we can say that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 must equal the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. And that would be by the transitive property. Okay. And now step 8, if we subtract the measure of angle 2 from each side, we have the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. And that's by the subtraction property of equality. And then in step 9, we're trying to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and we can do that by definition of congruency. Okay. So now that we've proven that vertical angles are indeed congruent, we can use that information in upcoming proofs. And that's actually really important information for us to use for the proofs that follow.